10 anime characters, the Death Note cannot kill. Whether it's because of age, species, or something else, these characters have nothing to fear from the Death Note. The little black book is one of the deadliest devices in anime. All it takes is someone's name, a mental image of the person, and a writing utensil, and the Death Note can kill whoever in whatever way the user desires, as long as it's physically possible to do. No matter how strong, how clever, or however skilled they may be, death is almost certain if they have the unfortunate fate of being targeted by a Death Note user. Still, there exist some people who manage to break the shackles of certain death and can manage to live on despite having their name written down. They usually take the form of special power users or those with special circumstances that put them into the cracks in the rules the Death Note holds. These special people are otherwise immune to the Death Note. Number 10. Ryuk. Let's get an obvious one out of the way first. According to Rem, another Shinigami from the anime and manga, the only way to kill a Shinigami is by having them fall in love with a human. It's a rather roundabout way of actually saying that a Shinigami can only die if they use the Death Note to extend a person's life by killing whoever may put it in jeopardy. If this is true, that means that Death Note is not only useless against Ryuk but all Shinigami. Even if they could be killed by the Death Note, the book itself seems to have some fail-safes to prevent that to happen. The Shinigami eyes do not reveal their names and they are rather well guarded about them. They also cannot be killed by normal means, making it difficult for a Death Note user to figure out exactly what they need to write down to kill them. Furthermore, if they guess it wrong, it defaults into a heart attack which also cannot kill them. Number 9. Rukia Kuchiki. You cannot kill what is already dead. Rukia Kuchiki is a Soul Reaper, Shinigami, from Bleach. They also watch over the world and help foster a human through the cycle of death. However, they are much less sinister than the Shinigami from Death Note. Being a Soul Reaper, Rukia is essentially already dead. They may use special terminology like Roshi to describe what she is made out of, but she can aptly be described as a being that is purely a soul, meaning that she is already beyond the Death Note's power. Number 8. Natsuki Subaru. Does killing someone with the Death Note count if you cannot make it stick? Natsuki Subaru is the central character of Re:Zero and possibly one of the unluckiest isekai protagonists of all time. Armed with only a power he calls Return by Death, he can immediately go back to an earlier point in time whenever he dies. It works like a save point system in video games and would activate when the Death Note kills him. Unfortunately, this would only make his bad luck worse. It would probably result in an infinite loop where he is constantly killed by the Death Note only to have to relive it time and time again unless he somehow figures out who is using it. Number 7. Master Roshi. The Turtle Hermit is immune to the Death Note. Is it because he has a special ability to prevent the book from reaping his soul? Did he just train past the point where the Death Note could harm him? Does he have some other clever scheme? Nope. He is just too old. A little-known rule of the Death Note is that there is an age limit to its use. According to the manga rules, you cannot kill humans at the age of 124 or over with the Death Note. With Master Roshi being immortal, he is already way past the point where the Death Note can affect him. Number 6. Ru. The age limit goes both ways. Just as there is an upper limit to who can be killed with the Death Note, there is a lower limit that prevents death. Ru is an alien baby and the namesake for the series UFO Baby. A seemingly simple baby, he's a space alien from the planet Otto that can levitate and use telekinesis. Just like with Master Roshi, his age is a factor here. As stated in the manga rules, the Death Note will not affect those under 780 days old. Being an infant at the start of the series, which, fortunately, puts him way under the cutoff for death. Number 5. CC. CC is Death Note proof in many ways. First off, like Master Roshi, she is someone who has lived for centuries, putting her way past the 124-year deadline for the Death Note. She is also an enigmatic character who guards her name by using the pseudonym CC. Most importantly, she is just straight up immortal. CC has been burned at the stake, shot, crushed by water pressure, and even was subjected to a guillotine and came out okay. So something like a heart attack will be fruitless. Number 4. Hamtaro. Who would have thought that the easiest way to avoid being a target of the Death Note was to be born a furball? Sure, the Death Note is unstoppable once a name is written down, but only if you are human. It's stated plainly in the first rule of the Death Note that the human whose name is written in this note shall die. Hamtaro is a hamster, making him out of the Death Note's reach. I think you and I both know who should have replaced Hell after his death in the series. Number 3. Alucard. This is another person who has a hard time dying. Excluding the obvious factor about his age, Alucard has been killed by many people and many things, including people wielding holy weapons that are supposed to be effective against his kind, and that was before he absorbed Schrodinger's powers in the manga. Afterward, he is just nigh unstoppable. Best described as existence based on the retention of self, he thinks and therefore he is. Schrodinger's power being added to Alucard's already potent immortality means that the vampire can withstand whatever the Death Note can throw at him and come back just fine. Probably while enjoying it the whole time too. Number 2. Alphonse Elric. Mark this guy down as one of those cases where he is a special circumstance when it comes to the Death Note. A result of an accident from using a forbidden form of alchemy, Edward Elric lost an arm and a leg, but his brother, Alphonse, lost much more. His whole body offered as an exchange for whatever they ended summoning. His soul was hastily bonded to a suit of armor to prevent it from passing on. It's a pretty tough punishment for dealing in factors they should not, but, at the very least, it did make him unkillable by the Death Note. Since the soul is already stripped from the body, it can be considered that Alphonse is in a state of limbo where he is not dead and not quite alive. The alive part being the important factor here, preventing him from dying again to the Death Note. Number 1. Major Motoko Kusanagi. Our favorite squad leader of Section 9 is practically unkillable by the Death Note. Her state as a cyborg without a past making her hard to track down and kill by any conventional means. Having her whole history erased after being cyberized makes it hard to find her name by any conventional means. The average Death Note owner would have no way of finding her actual name. The unusual Death Note user would also find it hard to kill her. While powerful, the Shinigami eyes would be useless against her too, ever since she was transplanted into a robot body. What she has on her head isn't her face, but is the apparatus for the cyber body that serves the same function. Her true face was lost long ago along with the rest of her when she was transferred to a fully cybernetic body. So, there you have it, 10 anime characters the Death Note cannot kill. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, please let us know in the comments section, and if you found this video helpful and entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to explore the world of anime more deeply with us. Have a nice day and we will see you in the next video.